Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Good afternoon, monsters, and welcome to the show that made Philippine FM radio talk, KBP's best podcast program, heard on Thursdays right here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and when emergencies happen, every second counts. But in a world where we live on our phones, where information moves in photos, in texts, and videos, how do we make sure that our emergency response keeps up? Well, that's where Next Generation 911 comes in, a technology that's transforming the way we call for help. Imagine being able to send not just a voice call, but also your exact location, a photo of the scene, or even a video straight to our responders. It's faster, it's smarter, and more coordinated than ever before. Today, monsters, we are joined by the people behind this innovation. Don Ferguson, the co-founder and CEO of LGA 911 LLC in the US, and Mike Amos, our co-founder of the technology and also international sales director. And together, they are helping bring this cutting-edge system to LGUs all across the Philippines, modernizing our emergency response and saving lives in the process. So this episode is about the future of public safety, or maybe the future is already here. The role of technology in moments of crisis, and of course, how we can build safer, more resilient communities, one call, one text, and one innovation at a time. So monsters, heard on Thursdays, let's welcome to the show Don Ferguson and Mike Amos of LGA 911. We are so grateful to have the both of you here today. Don, Mike, welcome to Heard on Thursdays. So let's start with a quick introduction. Don, you've spent 30 years building mission critical systems, and you even worked with President Obama's innovation team on modernizing public safety communications. Can you tell us a little bit about what led you to founding LGA 911?
Yeah, thank you. First, thank you for having us this afternoon. And the journey to Next Gen 911 really came from the problems from the old legacy system. What we found was the old legacy system was being outburdened and out-technologied. Basically, you couldn't do any of the new innovations with the old system. Mm-hmm. You couldn't text, you couldn't stream video, and it was very limited in terms of the number of calls it could get through. And that was really the catapult to figuring out that there's a better way to doing things.
Wow, I think that's really awesome, because I don't know if it happens. I feel like it does happen a lot everywhere, but when there are emergencies, a lot of people, their first thought is, aside from calling emergency services, it's to pull out their phones and take videos. And now, instead of just those videos going online, they actually go to these responders. And I think that is such an amazing way to get with the times and catch up with what is going on in modern society. Now, Mike, you co-founded the technology and you are now leading international sales. What excites you most about bringing this innovation to new places like here in the Philippines?
Saving lives. We save in the Philippines, we're saving lives every day. The first call that came in was a home invasion.
Oh, wow.
And the police arrived in 4 minutes. So the normal response time, we were told, was an hour to an hour and a half if we can come at all.
Right.
Now the response time is less than 7 minutes.
Wow. That's amazing, because back then I would say it would take even just 4 minutes to get a call, to get through. Yeah.
Call, yes.
But now you're saying that home invasion, the police were there in just 4 minutes.
That's correct. From the time the call was taken at the 911 call taker to the dispatching of that police officer team, and they arrived, made an arrest on the spot of an attempted home invasion.
That, I have to say, I am pleasantly surprised. Yeah. I mean, I'm not speaking for every Filipino here, but I think a lot of people have complained about, the system before, how long it would take for us to be able to get help. And now there's a system in place that makes it so much faster. And that would make all Filipinos feel so much safer.
Yeah, because what happens is in the past, you would drive from Makati to BGC, and the 911 number could be 156, and then in BGC it's 138.
Right.
So no one really ever knows the number. Now you have one number to call for fire, police, or ambulance service, and that number is 911.
All right, monsters. So now we have 911, a central unified number for all needs, for all emergency responses.
Please do not call 911 if you don't need help. Do not call to test it. Please.
Is that a, because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, in the US, it's considered a crime
Yes.
to call 911 like for
Yes.
no reason.
Yes.
So
that is correct. The thing is, there's not an infinite number of operators that can field calls,
Mhm.
and a test call could actually be in
Delay.
front of and delay response for a real emergency.
exactly. Now, are there any laws or any laws in place here in the Philippines yet? Or is that something you guys plan to work towards, where a fake or a prank or a test 911 call could get somebody in trouble?
So we have one of the things that were challenges actually that the Philippines has had is the prank calls. So we are now filtering out the prank calls and redirecting them to a non-emergency, essentially a voice box. That's a process of weeding them out, but also it was a huge problem. There were so many. And we found that those were blocking emergency response, actual emergencies, people from getting help.
Now what's happening is when you call 911 with our technology, they know exactly where you are within 3 meters. So if you continue to do it, don't be shocked if the police come to your door and arrest you.
Okay. Well, hopefully that is more than enough to scare people from calling 911 for non-emergencies,
Emergencies, correct.
because we have to remember there are so many emergencies, and like you mentioned, not infinite. We don't have infinite numbers of responders. So let's leave those, to actual the people who actually need these emergency responders.
Exactly.
So monsters, be responsible in using 911 too.
Mhm.
Now, I'm curious, you did say that you guys are filtering out the prank calls. How exactly does that work? How does that work?
There's a threshold. If we see the same number dialing 911 in a very short period of time repeatedly, then that gets flagged, and then it gets sent to processing, in which it gets reviewed and subsequently gets blocked from reaching 911 services.
Okay. And for the monsters who might not know when to use 911, what are considered emergencies?
Emergency, any type of emergency, whether it be fire, accident, any type of emergency, and you can get help from the police department, the fire department, or the emergency service responders for ambulance.
Okay. All right. Well, monsters, today's episode also does fall on a very significant day. It is September 11, 9/11. And this is a day where we really remember how critical emergency response is. It feels very fitting to talk about the next generation of 911, a system that's about saving time, saving lives, and of course, building resilience in the face of crisis. So, monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I am your host, Ria Rams, and today we are talking about the future of public safety, which is here now, the role of technology in moments of crisis, and how we can build safer and more resilient communities. One call, one text, and one innovation at a time, with Don and Mike of NGA 911. We will be back in just a little bit, only here on Manila's Hottest Monster, RX 93.1.
Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Monster RX93.1, welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. It's still me, Rhea Rams, your host, and today we are talking about the future of emergency response, which is here, with Don Ferguson and Mike Amos of NGA 911. So, Don, you have seen the technology implemented in the US and now in the Philippines. You actually just rolled it out today. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
So you rolled it out earlier today, the unified E911 system with DILG, and it's a joint venture between NGA 911 and EPLDT, right?
Yes.
So what is unique about rolling it out here? Are there challenges that are different from other countries?
Every country is different. The Philippines is special. A lot of citizens in the Philippines, a lot of people in the Philippines are on their phones,
Yes.
connected via Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And those all present unique challenges to public safety. But I would say, we were talking about it previously, I'd say the biggest challenge here was dealing with the prank calls to 911. And in the U.S., that situation's dealt with very harshly.
Right.
And in the Philippines, they're still learning. And what we've discovered is that not only is this a technology innovation, but also policy.
Yes.
Government policy is catching up with how to run a 911 system. And but I'd say the most unique thing about the Philippines is that when we every step of the way, everyone who we've spoken with has truly embraced the system. They truly want it, and obviously truly need it. And it's been very supportive, and you see that from the top down. It's just been a pleasure to do this.
And I'm sure everybody here in the Philippines is so grateful that you guys are bringing this technology here, because I think we need it more than we know. And the fact that now it's available to us is amazing. And we're going to go into the features and how we can use it later on. But I am curious too, is there a significance as to why you guys chose to roll it out today?
9/11 in the United States, 9/11 today's date, and your 911 office. So they all tie together.
And Mike, on the flip side, what are the opportunities that you see here in the Philippines for this kind of innovation?
I'm going to let Don answer that.
There's tremendous opportunities. You have...
I'm going to jump in. We have an app coming out. It's called You and I. We haven't branded it yet, but it probably will be branded as You and I. And that app will allow citizens to see high crime areas. It will allow citizens to know about a fire that's going on, not to go down that street. It's all real time. And the biggest thing is, if you need help and your neighbors also have the app, when you push for help, your neighbors will know, we will know, 911 will know. So it's not it's gonna, again, we're gonna be able to help a lot of people in distress. And that's just one of the many items that we are going to be bringing to the marketplace.
All right. Well, I think that's amazing. Is there a date, a target date for that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, that's something really exciting, I would say. I mean, that's cool. Like, no other way to put it, but it's so cool. But also, I want to get a little bit deeper into, I want to talk a little bit more about the features and how exactly this next generation 911 works. What makes it different from the existing emergency responses, and what makes this next generation?
Well, the existing 911 system throughout the United States is the legacy system. The legacy system is kind of like an old phone, right?
Yes.
It doesn't do anything. The legacy system is not reliable. We have found it to be incredibly unreliable. With our next generation 911 system, our uptime is 99.999. The way that our technology works, utilizing multiple circuits that are load bearing that switch between each other. And then if the neighbor puts a plow in there and yanks out all the wires, it automatically switches over to Starlink. So your 911 is up.
Wow.
Your satellite. Yeah. So, and the difference between calling 911 in the past is, well, here there is no 911. But in the United States, when you called it in the past, the first thing that you were asked was, where are you located? And then you were transferred to that jurisdictional police officer or call center. So while you're waiting on hold and someone's bleeding and you're, totally freaking out, but now what'll happen is we will immediately get the call. It will be routed by our patented technology to the actual local jurisdictional operator.
And I think if the floods, right? That's
Right.
a pretty recent event. So flooding happens very quick. People get stranded. The waters are rising. Well, now when you dial 911,
someone answers.
Well, someone answers and they know exactly where you're located.
That's perfect. Because sometimes you, especially in a flood, you might not even know where you are anymore.
You lose bearings.
Yeah,
the landscaping
panic,
changes.
Yeah. Right.
So they know exactly that long within three meters of where you're located.
Then we can send a link to that cell phone. If they click on the link, we activate their camera. We ask them to point it towards the incident. We share that live video stream with the police and the fire and emergency services real time.
And this works. They need internet for it to work.
Yeah, well, PLDT is our partner.
Okay.
And PLDT has done an excellent job providing network services. We love PLDT. How about that? Mitch, hello.
So, all right. Now, you did mention too that aside from just calling, you can actually text these emergencies. How exactly does that work?
You
Sending
can text
photos?
911. You can contact them on one of your apps, over-the-top apps. You can contact them from Viber. You can contact them from Facebook. You can contact them from Instagram, X, anything, any type. You can also email, and we will know your location. So our technology provides us with pinpoint accuracy of where you are.
They're still rolling out the text though. Like we just launched. They're still turning on the text.
Okay.
Text side of it.
All right, awesome. Now, how does this system integrate with the existing emergency infrastructure, like you mentioned, PNP, fire, and also emergency responders?
Instead of, I think it was 40,000 barangay captain numbers, 20,000 fire department numbers, and a bunch of other numbers, police, etc. Now it's one number.
One number.
And you're not utilizing all of those people to answer the phone. Now, when you call 911 or for an emergency, they'll ask you, 911, what is your emergency? At that point, they are able to connect you directly with the police, fire, or emergency services. That wasn't possible before.
Right.
Your old technology was, I'm sorry, very weak. But even in the United States, it's been a struggle because some of the major companies have been trying to block us. Why? Because they're going to lose a lot of money with our product. And when we come in, an example would be at the California Highway Patrol. We go in, they have 300 operators there. There's a room full of servers. We walk in, we unplug everything, we throw it in the garbage, and we say, hey, you can use this room for lunch or whatever you want.
Right.
We don't make many friends that way. Yeah, it's definitely been we're a disruptive company. So, but while we're disrupting everything, we're also really, truly saving lives. There was an incident in the United States where they were searching for a guy who was calling from his cell phone, and he was in a trunk. And he was calling and calling, and they said, hey, they're searching for you, but the temperatures got so high that he died.
Oh, no.
And they were 90 feet away from him. They would have been able to find this guy in 2 seconds with our technology.
Right. That's amazing.
No more cars that roll off the hill. I don't know where I'm at. If you can call 911, we know where you are. So there's a lot of benefit to that.
Yeah, definitely. And this is available throughout the nation now, right? Here in the Philippines.
That's correct.
So anywhere here in the Philippines, they can dial 911 and they will be directed to the responder that they need.
Yes. One thing we want everyone to be aware of, we're rolling it out today. Nothing rolls out perfect, especially when it's new. So if you're experiencing any problems, you can report them to us or to the local police, and we will get that information. But as we are implementing and growing your 911 system, like I said, there's no such thing as perfect, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah, so be patient.
Yeah.
They'll get there eventually. And I think it would also help if a lot of these, if they experience any issues, they give you guys the feedback so that it can be addressed properly.
yes.
So I'm also curious because I watch a lot of 911 shows. Is it the same way where, you know, they call 911, you have like the first responders, the people who answer the calls, and then you're talking to that person all throughout, and then they'll be the one to like call the police or the ambulance?
Yes, but it's different now because what'll happen is when you call and you say you need the fire department, you're immediately connected to the fire department while it's the call taker and then the caller and then the first responder. The first responder is the police and the fire department. But the call taker receives the call and they're capable of immediately sharing it. And if the caller activates the link, they can, an example, there's a fire. Oh my God, there's a fire. Great. We're sending you a link. Point your camera towards that fire. Now we get to see the fire. We share that link with the fire department. And instead of them driving over in 5 or 6 or 9 minutes with all the burning going, they can see 5, 6, 9 minutes earlier. We need 3 more companies to this fire.
Right.
So we're not only are we saving lives, but we're saving property. So because less time, less burn.
That's true. And I'm curious now, you did mention we need Wi-Fi for the links, for example. But what happens if the person calling does not have access to the internet?
Well, you don't need access to the internet, but you do need phone service.
Right.
Right. So you got to be connected to a tower. If you're not connected to the cellular network, then it's not.
For right now, you need a load. We're working with your country so that you don't. But for right now, you need to have cellular accessibility. You need to be able to make a call. So you need to have a load.
Okay. So it's not a free call yet.
No. They implemented that.
Oh, they fixed that?
Correct.
Sorry.
So that's not the issue. The load's not the issue. The issue is you can't if you don't have a tower that you're connected to, if you don't have a Wi-Fi network that you're connected to, then you can't get a call out.
Okay.
And there's no
fix to that.
There's no fixing that.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing that we did is for some of the remote regions in the country, they don't have a lot of good connectivity. So we actually exactly. So it's not just a problem of the caller, it was also a problem of the center. So what we did is we worked with Starlink and we put satellite in there so that center will always have good connectivity.
Okay.
So you can always reach them, but of course you got to be able to
connect,
dial out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard, but here in the Philippines, our internet could be problematic. So it feels very, it's very assuring to know that you guys have foreseen that and made sure that at least the responding centers are fine.
Yeah, that's our partner PLDT, and they have done an incredible job.
All right.
Really have.
Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome. And it's just so exciting to have something like this in the Philippines nationwide. Now, what has the response been from all your partners here in the Philippines, especially the local government units and everybody who's affected by this?
Well, we just had the event this morning, and we had the Bureau of Fire, we had Philippines National Police, we had DILG, and it was really beautiful to see all of those agencies working together.
Finally united.
United, yeah. Yeah, and that's a theme that you see there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
United 911. Another thing is the Philippines 911 system is the latest technology from NGA. It surpasses the technology that we're using in other places at this point. So you have the smartest city on the planet.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel like that is amazing. One of our listeners actually said, "Thank you so much. That is advanced." So it's really great to know. So you did also say that today being 9/11, a day where the world saw the stakes of emergency responses so clearly. How has that tragedy shaped your own perspective when it comes to why this work matters?
Well, I think 9/11 was obviously a tragedy that was felt across the world. And it reminds you that life is fragile and that we're all in it together.
Mhm.
So I think what it did for us is just motivated us to move faster and to move quicker, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And while flying an airplane into a large tower, into the World Trade Towers, is not happening on an everyday basis, there are those smaller incidents that happen, and that's really what we target.
Mhm.
So this reminds us that every life matters, and that when someone needs help, as you saw in the towers, when those people in the towers needed help, those firefighters were the ones
Mhm.
running into the tower to give help
Mhm.
into burning flames. And that's our job, is to make sure that those first responders get the tools that they need in order to deliver the help that they
Mhm.
want to help.
Now, I'm curious, you did mention that once you call 911, there are call takers, was it?
Yeah,
The term?
call takers are at your currently at PLDT, who sponsored a space for for the call taking center,
Mhm.
the National Command Center. So the employees of the fire department, police, are the persons answering the phones,
Mhm.
and the call center, like I said, is located at PLDT. Those people answering the phone are call takers.
Right. And these call takers, what is the process like for their training, and around how many do we have
Well,
at the
Yeah, great
moment?
question.
we're working on that right
Yeah.
now. Actually, I was just talking to the secretary of the DILG, and I explained that, and the fire department, that we believe that, and they've all agreed, we're going to send out some trainers from the United States to train people here so that you can have properly trained call takers. We also have a protocol system, but your procurement is such a struggle. It might take a while. The protocol system for a call taker is beyond excellent. The caller calls and says, "Oh, I've been bit by a snake.
Mhm.
It was on my leg." So, what do you know? What kind of snake? Oh, it was a rattlesnake. They put it in the protocol system: rattlesnake bite, and how to deal with it.
Okay,
Or
cool.
this person's laying there, they're not breathing. They'll say, "Okay, in order to give them CPR, pinch the nose, lift the, etc." So the protocol system, which is not here yet, which is coming, we hope, will help out those call takers. But we are working with the government to bring in trainers to
Mhm.
actually, because in the United States, to be a call taker, you need to get certified. It's a class, and then there's call takers, and there's call taker managers. Call taker manager will be listening in on your call as a call taker,
Mhm.
and they can whisper into your other ear, "Hey, tell the person this." And if the call taker, I mean, if the manager doesn't like the call taker's responses, they can hit a button called barge. They barge in, they take over the call. So it's pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, that's cool.
Definitely.
So that's how it works in the United States.
That's how it works here.
And that's how it works here too.
Yes.
Cool. And what are the qualifications for someone to be a call taker?
You'll have to ask your government that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Well,
We strongly suggested our call taker classes,
right.
and I believe that those will be moving forward expeditiously. Um, and that's pretty much where it's at, because what we train people on is the utilization of the system, which button to push to get this to happen,
Mhm.
to get that to happen. But we are not call taker trainers.
I see.
See, that's a separate government controlled system. So what we plan on doing is sending some people here. They'll put classes together, and ultimately, one, two, three, five of the people will become qualified call takers. Then they'll become qualified managers.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think the most exciting thing is that there's a new occupation that is opening up in the Philippines, and they're called dispatchers and call takers. And to answer your question, what is probably the greatest skill that they need? These are multitaskers. So if you imagine, you have call coming in after call after call. So the first call that you get is, "Hey, my cat's stuck in the tree." Okay, it's okay. Can you get him out, or do you need some help? And then the next call that you get is, "My child is not breathing."
Right.
And then the call you get after that is a vehicle accident. So these dispatchers / call takers are multitaskers. They perform well under pressure. And what we're doing, what Mike mentioned, is giving them the data and the information and the procedures to perform that contains all the experience from the US to really perform with the best data possible.
Yeah, I think also like that is so important sorry, just to go back to that. You mentioned these calls come one after the other, but you did mention multitasking. Do they have to handle multiple calls at once?
No, it's one call
just
at
one
a time.
call. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so cool what you guys mentioned about the protocol handbook.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a protocol system. So they type it into the system, and then on their screen, it'll give them all the protocols for whatever the situation is.
Right. But you also mentioned that right now here in the Philippines, you guys are still trying to roll in these classes and these trainers for our call takers.
Yeah.
We discussed that this morning with DILG. So
it's
hopefully
it's on the agenda.
It's certainly happening. Yeah.
And
another thing is that once, this is to go out to all of the people that are committing crimes. The police will now know what areas those crimes are being committed. We'll even know what times that those crimes are happening. So for any purse snatchers, you might be snatching a purse from a police officer. So beware.
I love that. I like that. Not only are we making our citizens feel safer,
but we'll be able to track all of it.
Yeah.
So with our analytics and our system, we can tell you things like, this area has the most purse snatchings. It happens during this period of time. We can tell you things like your call taker number 1, he answers on the first ring. He's on for 2 minutes. He uses management services 20% of the time. Call taker number 2, they answer on the 4th or 5th ring. They're on for 10 minutes. They use management services 50% of the time. Call taker number 2 needs more training.
Right.
So we can also tell you operators. The call takers, in the morning between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., we need hypothetically 30 of them. And then after 9 a.m., it calls drop off, and then it picks back up at 4 p.m. So you can now utilize your resources better. You have your 30 call takers. You only need 10 for the afternoon. You can send 20 of them home, et cetera, et cetera. So it allows you to utilize your resources better.
Right. So it's a very dynamic system that's always improving and always getting with the times and what's needed by any location.
Yeah. Well, we just again spoke to, I forgot the name of the department, but the one that controls all the closed circuit televisions. Our system will allow a caller to make a call at, let's say, an intersection. And when they make that call, an immediate fence goes up. In that fence, if there's a closed circuit television camera, soon, not yet, because we just talked about it today.
Okay.
Soon we'll be able to share the video stream of that camera with the police, with the fire, and the call taker. So we'll be able to activate it. And it's a smart system.
Right.
So if there's a shooting and 200 people are calling at the same time, the system will basically recognize that all these calls are coming from the geofenced area. It'll give 3 or 4 operators, and it'll not utilize all the other operators. And it's a smart system. So if you call and you get thrown into the queue, the first thing it says is this a medical emergency? You can hit the button, boom, you'll be transferred over into a different queue where they'll be answering your call. The purpose of the queue is when 200 people are calling about the same shooting.
Right.
That's why we don't utilize all the operators this way. We put them in the queue, and that's how we do it.
That's amazing. And that is something that you can only figure out with years and years and years of experience. So I think this is such a useful, important system to have in place. And we are so happy to have it here in the Philippines. We are going to be learning a little bit more about it later on. But right now, Monsters, you are listening to Heard on Thursdays. I am your host, Rhea Rams. And today we're talking about the future of public safety, the role of technology in moments of crisis, and how we can build safer and more resilient communities. One call, one text, and one innovation at a time with Don and Mike of NGA 911. We'll be back in just a little bit. So make sure to stay tuned only here on Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1.
The Monster presents Heard on Thursdays, the iconic radio talk show that made Philippine FM radio talk. Winner of multiple KBP Golden Dove Awards. HOT. Heard on Thursdays. Your host, Rhea Rams.
Manila's hottest Monster RX93.1. Welcome back to Heard on Thursdays. I'm your host, Rhea Rams, and today we are talking about the future of emergency response with Don Ferguson and Mike Amos of NGA 911. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the future. We have talked about all the things you plan to roll out, like the app and all the other features of the system. But aside from that, technology is always evolving. AI, satellites, even wearable devices. So where do you see emergency response going in the next maybe 5 to 10 years?
To all of that you're discussing, we'll have body cam. Right now, there was a fire yesterday when we were at the command center. I watched a fire happen with a body cam on from the firefighter.
Wow.
So we got to see exactly what was going on. I mean, we watched the truck driving. We could see everything, and then we watched them once they got in. And put the fire out.
So just to clarify, that's here in the Philippines?
That was here in the Philippines. Yeah, that was yesterday.
We have body cams?
You have body cams.
That's so cool. I didn't even know that.
You're just starting to get the body cams.
Oh, we're starting.
Yes.
No, but that's so promising. And
it makes a stronger police department.
Definitely. And That's definitely just very reassuring, I would say, for all us Filipinos to have these systems in place. Now, is there anything, because AI now is also very rampant, is there anything that you guys are collaborating or integrating AI into your systems with?
So AI will bring a lot of benefits to Philippines, and there's a couple of examples that are just really clear right now that we're looking at implementing. So first, anything that's spoken on a 911 call can be automatically translated into text, and that can be then um, converted to between languages. So for
It's translation of the language and
and
text.
transcription,
So,
yeah, transcription and translation, and then of course every word as it's enunciated on the call can trigger certain responses. So, for example, if there's a 911 call that mentions a gun or a knife or a weapon or something that would indicate that this is a really high priority issue, action can be taken on that call to route it even higher in the queue to make sure that it gets directly to an officer in that vicinity, for example. So there are, and that's just where we're starting. We're really excited about loading. We talked about the protocol system. Well, you can imagine if you have AI that has the protocol system in it, you can even come up with mechanisms to accelerate response based on AI.
Another thing, again, discussed this morning, so it's not happening overnight. License plate readers, so the police officers know who they're talking to when they pull over a car. Facial recognition systems. Oh, this guy's wanted, right? So when you come through the airport in the future, they'll have facial recognition. And if you're on the lam, you're going to be behind bars.
Oh my goodness. We need that.
Yeah, absolutely you do.
Well, that's amazing. Now, for Filipinos listening right now, what is one thing that you guys would want them to know or understand about next generation 911 and why it matters to their safety?
Well, I think this system is built to serve the citizens of the Philippines, and what we would encourage every citizen to do is to contribute their thoughts and ideas. If there are ways that 911 can serve you better, please share them. There's many channels to do that, and we're here to listen. So we would like to continue to advance the system, to align it with needs. Perhaps there's some things that we can do that we didn't know. So it's a call out to encourage that dialogue with each and every person.
All right. And where can they send these? You said there are multiple channels, but what would be the
police
quickest?
department? You could send it to the fire department. You could send it to the DILG, the E911 director. Any comments that you'd want, you could send to them. And we definitely want to say big thank you to the DILG secretary, all the way to the previous one, Mr. Avalos, who brought us in the beginning for testing, and then the new DILG secretary took that ball and ran it into the end zone. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thank you again, PLDT.
Yes, definitely. This is like a collaborative.
100%. We can't provide it without the network.
Definitely.
And without PLDT, the Philippines has problems with a network. Yeah.
Right. Now, what advice would you give to local leaders or LGUs who are curious but maybe hesitant about this new system?
Come check it out. They'll give you a tour. We'll give you a tour. We have offices in Manila. Systems are set up. We do training there on a regular basis. I think in the last couple of weeks, we trained 250 call takers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort. All of us together, citizens, police, fire, everyone together makes this whole world safer. That's all.
All right. And lastly, if somebody wants to learn more about NGA 911, or maybe if they want to try their hand at being a call taker or just being part of this new project, like maybe explore partnerships, where can they reach you?
Well, call takers would be done by your government. So
Okay.
we don't participate in that. Anybody that has any type of suggestion for NGA is welcome to contact us at nga911.com ph.
All right, monsters, that's nga911.com.ph.
Oh yes, I missed a dot.
Is there anybody else you want to give a shout out to, and any last words for the Filipinos who will, well, hopefully not need to, but if they're in the situation where they need to use it, is there any message that you want to give these people?
It was 6 years that actually 7. 2019 was our first visit. 19, 20, 21, 22, all the way to 25. There was a lot of people that helped us or were interested in our product. There was the previous 911 director Villarosa. He was a game changer in 911. And the new director, I think it's Ferrardo, another excellent person, just really concerned about the safety of others. So there's a lot of people. I wish I could think of all of their names, but yes, everybody in the Philippines that has been incredibly helpful.
Well, I think we have to give a shout out to Secretary Remula because without his leadership and clarity of vision and his determination, we wouldn't be here today at this place.
He's the one that ran the ball in. 100%.
All right. And is there any message that you like to give the Filipinos who will be using or partnering with NGA 911?
Be safe. Only use the 911 system in an actual emergency, please, because otherwise you'll be stopping others from getting help.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Don, Mike, for being with us today. This has been such an important and really reassuring conversation about public safety and, of course, the new emergency response here in the Philippines. Again, thank you so much also for bringing the system into the Philippines and for helping us improve emergency response here in the country.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you.
It's been my honor to have you guys and to be able to explore this a little bit more. So once again, monsters, this has been Heard on Thursdays with me, Rhea Rams. And today we talked about Next Generation 911 with Don Ferguson and Mike Amos of NGA 911. Catch us again next week, same time, same place, only here on Manila's Hottest Monster RX93.1.
Monster exclusive interview. Monster exclusive interview. Only from Manila's Hottest. Monster RX93.1.